Hi everyone, it's Deb here and I'm going to do a quick tutorial. I have made a piece of jewelry for my mother for her birthday and I needed a little container to put it in, and so I thought of this, and I'm also going to enter it into a challenge. So this has absolutely zero to do with my store. It's just a fun project and I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing I did is I went to the Dollar Tree and I got these little boxes. They're the wedding treat boxes. If you fold it up, well, I can't make it go right now. There we go. Okay, so if you fold it up, it would look, like that, more or less. Okay, so it would be a standing up box like this. Okay, but what I'm going to do is cover these with paper and lace and make this into a corset, and so it'll be a birthday bag instead of a wedding bag. So the first thing I need is my my paper, my little mat to pierce on, and my piercing tool. So this is the paper I've chosen. It's a Graphics 45. It's from the Le Cirque collection, and she really likes blues and golds, so that's why I chose this paper. But I want this side, so I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to trace this pattern onto the back. Get this stuff out of the way. So you can see I've just laid it on the edge, and I'm going to trace it around twice because I want it on both sides. So there's one. Okay, so there's one. Let's see, I'm going to bring that down to here. Okay, and now I'm going to do the next one right next to it. Make sure my lines are straight this time because I didn't have it quite straight last time, I don't think. Okay, so I've got two of those cut out, or two of those drawn on here. And I'm going to take my scissors, here it is, and cut those out. So if you'll give me just a second, you can kind of see, it's hard to see on this paper, but I did draw it with pencil. Okay, so I've got both of my pieces cut out, and as you see, there's the right side that I want to use, and this is the wrong side. So I'm going to attach these onto the fronts of my bag, like that. So I think I'm going to do that with an adhesive like my Mega Runner here. I think that's going to work the best. So rather than wet glue, I think this is going to work the best. So I'm just going to stick some of these glue dots on here, and I want the top to be down pretty good, so I'm kind of making sure it's really close to the edge. And then I'm going to go around the edge on the skirt part, and across the bottom, and then I'm just going to do a couple random ones in the middle here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to get this in line where I want it. Oops. Must have had some of my gelato still left on my desk from earlier. Okay, I'm going to get this on here, and I want the top to be exactly right. Because I can trim the bottom somewhat. Okay, so that's on there. And now you can see it's a little off, so I'm going to take my scissors and go across the bottom. Trim that off. And look at the other edges a little bit. Yeah, I think there's a little that could be trimmed there too. side looks pretty good. One here. And a little along the bust area. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to do the other side, same thing. By the way, I have never been a big tape runner fan, but I won this from Peacock, and I love this Xyron one. It's the first one I've ever found that I actually liked. So just an FYI in case you're looking for one. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Get this lined up. Nope, not quite. Let me peel that back off. There we go. Okay, got that on there. Now on this one you can see I'm a little short on the dress, but I'm not really worried about that because I'm going to be covering it with laces. So I'm going to go in and trim this so it matches. And this one I did a little shy on the paper, so I'm going to actually cut the bag. Go on the back here, trim it up. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So the next thing I want to do is take my piercing mat and my awl, and I'm going to make some holes so that I can do a bit of a corset at the top here. So we're going to go one, go. Make sure you push all the way through the paper and the bag. And how I do that is I lift it up and I look, and then I can twist it through gently until I get the size hole I want. So there, now you see I've got a hole. Okay, and then I'm going to go and do it on the other side. And you could use a ruler to make it exact, but I just kind of eyeball it. Okay, stick my all through there again. And now I'm going to go and repeat that process 2 more times on each side. Okay, so now you can see I have 6, I hope you can see, I've got 6 holes, okay? And I'm not really worried about the back part. All I'm going to do is bend that back a little bit because the lace, once it's wrapped through, will pretty much cover those holes, but I want it to be a little flatter, so I'm just using my fingers, spreading it apart and folding it back. Okay. And there we go. That's pretty good. Oh, a little piece there that popped down. Okay, there we go. All right, now let me put my cap on my awl. These are really sharp, so you want to make sure you keep your tip on there. Okay, and I'm only doing that on one side because one side will be the front of the dress and one side will be the back of the dress. So you only need wear a corset, you know, but the strings are only on one side. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is find my, and I should have already had it out and I don't, my turquoise distress ink. So give me just a second. Okay, well it seems to have walked off, so I'm going to use this iced spruce instead because I think it's going to be close enough. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to go around my edges. Oop. It's brand new and juicy. And I'm just going to cover up these white edges. That's all I'm trying to do. And I think I'm going to have to use a piece of this. So I'm going to just stick some on there so I can get in these corners. Oh, I'm out of camera, sorry. Okay, going in there and getting those edges. And again, that's just to cover up the white so it's not so noticeable. And you could do the inside too, but I mean, it's a bag, so I'm going to stuff it with some tissue paper anyway, so I don't think I'm going to need it there. Okay, and again, I'm just doing the edges because I don't want any of that white showing. And there's a little spot there that I want to trim up that I see I missed. Okay, now I can go back in and redo that little edge. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to go around and, you know, add a little bit of color to the edges, just to blend that in more than anything. Give it a little distressed look. And you always want to start off and you know, come in. You don't want to just put it down. So I'm going around the edges all the way, as you see, just bringing in that color again. And that iced spruce actually worked really well. So, but I wish I knew where my turquoise one went. Okay, so we're done with that. Oh, I'm going to do a little around the holes too. Make sure I get that just in case. Okay. All right, so that part's done. And I have a little bit of glue right here. So I'm going to try and scrape that off gently because, you know, if you have undo, which I do, but I don't want to dig it out, it will take glue off of paper too. So, and I think I'm going to have to do that because it's not coming off. So let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, so this is undo, and it's really awesome stuff. It really takes labels and things off, but it even works on paper. And they do carry it at Joann's here in Fort Walton Beach. I don't know about other places. Okay, so I just need a little bit of paper or something. So let me find, here it is. Okay, so I was using this earlier, and it's sturdy, but I think it'll be okay because I can go over to this clean side and just put a little bit on here. Okay, so I've got just a tad on there, and I'm going to go in here and wipe that glue off my paper. And voila, it's gone. So, now you can see I have no glue on there. Let's see if it'll focus better. So I had glue dots from the Mega Runner right here, and they're gone now. Okay. All right, so set that aside again. So the next thing I need to do is I need to lace my corset. And the easiest way to do that is if you have one of those needles that people use to embroider with, you know, the big fat plastic ones, that works the best. But I don't have one, so I'm going to just go in like this with my fingers, and I may have to work at it. And this is just cheap um, satin ribbon, his and hers from, I believe this came from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. And for those of you that don't know, I don't currently shop at Hobby Lobby, so this is pretty old. Been having it sit around for a while. All right, so I've got my corset started now. I want to straighten it out here in the back so that it lays right. Okay. All right, and I don't know how much I'm going to need, but I know it won't be any more than this, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off so I can set it aside. And I'm just going to continue to do this and thread it back and forth like this. So I'm going to fast forward through this, and I'll be back when this part's done. On this part I'm cheating because I can't get it to go through the hole, so I just took my awl back out and forced it through. Okay, and now to make it look right, I'm going to go back up through these holes again. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie it off in a knot in the back, and then we'll go in and adjust everything. Okay, I'm going to cut off my excess. And just so you know, don't throw your scraps away because you can always use them in flowers and things later on. So keep a little basket of scraps and things. All right, so we've got that, and now I'm going to take my awl and push this paper back down in because I want that in the back. I don't want it showing in the front. Okay, push that back again. Now, I suppose you could use eyelets or whatever to make this nice and smooth. I have a crocodile. I've used it once. It seems like a lot of work to me for something so simple. But if you have one, you're welcome to do that, and that will make it a lot smoother little eyelets, but they're also going to be a lot bigger. So, just my opinion. All right. So, now we have our little corseted thing here. And so now I want to adjust these ribbons because some of them are wider than the others. So I'm just going to kind of play with them and pinch them and get them to where I want them to be. Okay. And my awl comes in handy for a lot of things. Including this. Okay, that one's good. Get this bottom one to lay. Okay, that looks pretty good now. All right, so that's what we have. Okay. So next thing we're going to do, and like I said, this is a pretty quick project, so we're almost to the end. Next thing I'm going to do is lay this gorgeous lace, and I don't even remember where I bought it. I bought it online. Might have been from Lily's shop. I'm not really sure. But I just fell in love with it. So we're going to take that, and that's going to be our skirt over our paper. And I just need one bow section, so I'm going to take that like that and kind of measure. And I'm going to go right in between the two bows. Okay. And I think that's probably going to end up being a little wide, but we'll see. Okay, and then this one I'm going to do the same thing. Right in between the bows, so I can have the back piece as well, because, you know, it would normally go all the way around her. So I have my two pieces, and now that I'm looking at them, they're completely different. So I'm going to cut off this excess on, actually I don't like that one, so I'm going to set that aside and do it again. Let's see how it's working from this end. So if you see here, it's like two, you know, so this one had two loops on, or yeah, two loops on it. And I just think I just want the one. So I'm going to cut in between by going at an angle where that scallop is. So I'm going to line it up first. Get the bow out of the way. And then I can go up in between that scallop. And these are not my fabric scissors. I should have gotten those out. Okay, so now I can set that aside. And I'm going to just attach this on the front here like that. Okay, so now there are different glues that you can use for attaching fabric. One of the best happens to be Elmer's Precision Glue, but I don't have any at the moment, so I am going to go ahead and use, you can also use hot glue. And actually for this project, no, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to use my Glossy Accents to attach it. The reason why is it gives the back fabric area kind of a hard, once it dries, a hard area for it to attach to. So I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to let it dry, and then I will come back and we will put final touches on it. So let's do this piece too, all the way across. Like I said, I just want a hard area for it to glue to the card on. Okay, so I'll be back as soon as that's dry. Okay, so I've let that dry. For the most part, it's not solid, but it's enough that it will hold the glue now. And I'm going to decide which piece I like the best for the front, and I think I like this one. I'm just going to round this a little bit off, though. There we go. Okay, so I think I like that one the best. And actually, I'm going to round the edges on this side too. You can see there's kind of some sharp corners where I cut it. And so I'm going to just round those. So it's not quite as harsh. I really need to get my other scissors out. Okay, there's one. I'll do the same thing to the second layer. Okay. So now we have two, you know, they're more rounded and softer looking. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that right across here. So I'm going to put my glue on my paper. I'm going to stick that down so that the pearl is right in the center. And I think I want it just a tad lower. There we go. And I think that this bow is still, yep, sewed down. So I'm going to loosen that. There we go. That'll give me some more wiggle room. There we go. And I can move that around a bit. Oh, it's still too tight back here. All right. So see, as you're going, you discover things. So that was sewn down really good, and I didn't want it quite that sewn down quite that much. So I'm going to move this. There we go. That way I can get the dress part where I want it. And that's got to dry. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Just going to put it across here, right at the waistline. And this one's got some sharp edges too, so I'm going to go in and round those. Okay, I think there's one there too. Okay, I think that worked pretty good. Get these little pieces out of the way. And now let me check these bows. Yep. Both sides. Okay, so we're good. So I wanted to keep it sewn in the center, but I wanted the bow part loose so that I could move it around a little bit. And so now I'm going to put this one on just the same as I did on the other side. And I can maneuver that material a little bit to where I want it. Okay. And now those have to dry for a minute. While that's drying, I will come right back. Okay, so while I was waiting for that to dry, I kind of thought about what I wanted to do on the top here because I really think it needs a little something. So I went and found this lace, and the reason that I chose it is because I can cut it right down the center, and I'll have just the right width to kind of edge that with. But it's white, and I need it to be ivory because that's what this is. So I'm going to take my Tim Holtz, and this is the Wild Honey. I'm just going to stamp a little bit on here. And then I'm going to take a wet paintbrush. Get a little bit of water. And I'm going to roll that around in there because I want it really, really diluted. So I'm just going to dilute that out a lot because I don't want it to be heavy. And then I'm just going to kind of brush it on here. And then I'm going to squeeze it back out because I just want it to be ivory. I don't want it to be that real dark honey color. Okay, so I'm brushing it on here, and that's probably about all I'm going to need is right that amount right there. So do that, and then I'm going to take my paper towel and just dab it back off. And now you can see, well, maybe not, but there's a bit. Let me see if I can get close. And let me see if I can focus this. Let's see. Wrong way. There we go. There's just a tad of a difference in color so that it's, sorry, I'm getting out of the camera. So it's just a little ivory. This is the white and this is the ivory. Okay, so just that little bit gave it enough of the ivory that it'll match with this now. Okay, so I'm going to wipe up this. And let me go back to the other focus. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, I want it just, I think, across the top part, like that. Well, I'm gonna cut off a section and just play. So I want it cut in half, so I'm going to take it and just cut it right down the center. Oh, I really should have got my other scissors. This is ridiculous. That's why it's important to have separate scissors for each thing you do, paper and fabric and sticky stuff and, you know, all of that good stuff, because they do lose their sharpness if you're cross-cutting on different things. Okay. So I'm going to take the cut side, and that's going to go in the back. And I'm just going to, I think, start gathering it around like this at the very top. I don't know, can you see that? Because I just want it to be like it's ruffled at the bust part. So I am going to use a glue gun for this, and it's going to take me a minute to heat it up. Let's see. Because I don't use it very often, as you all know, so it's rarely hot when I'm crafting. But it doesn't take long. So, plug that in. I'm going to turn that over so I can work on the reverse side. Okay, and I'll be back in just a second when the glue gun's hot. Okay, so the glue gun is hot, and I am going to start attaching this. So with the cut side down, I'm going to start off at an angle though, because I don't want this sharper edge to show. And let's see, yep, that's about where I want to start it. So going to put that on there. And now I'm just going to make a little line and start gathering. And I'm only going to do, you know, a little bit at a time. So, and remember, it's hot, so, you know, don't stick your fingers in too far. Okay, now I'm going to come down and do a little bit more. A little more glue. And we're going down into the angle now of the bust, so I'm going to work that direction. And now I'm going to come back up the other side of the bust. I'm only doing about 2 at a time because the glue dries so fast, which is another reason why I don't love glue guns. So we're going to go there, and I may have to come in and re-glue that other area better. And there. Okay, and now I've got this last piece, and like I did on the other side, I don't want it to be a sharp edge, so I'm going to bring it in like that. Okay, and I think that looks really cute now. So we've got the little ruffle at the back. Now, I don't like how this lays. I want it to, you know, have more of a defined cleavage area. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And now I'm going to do the front. And the reason that I'm doing the back and the front on this part is because on a sleeveless dress, it would likely have the ruffle on both sides. So, okay. Start here on this side. Okay, and get that cut side glued at an angle. There we go. Glue that in. Okay. All right, and now I can start to gather. Okay, so there's one gather and 2 gathers. And now we're working down at an angle. We go down into the bust line. Like that. Okay, and I'm going to come back across the top. And I cut this pretty close to what I actually needed, so that was a good guess. And you know, a lot of times when you're crafting, that's exactly what it is. It's a guess. And you hope and pray you got it right. Okay, finish off my end. Bring that in at an angle. There we go. Okay, I'm not liking that, so I'll pull that out a little bit. There we go. And of course I got a million glue strings. So pull that up just a bit. And there we go, we got that on the front now. Okay, I am going to, I don't like the way that one's laying, so I'm going to put a little glue there and glue that down because it looks like it's sticking up more than the other side. There we go. Much better. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to use my heat gun real quick and get rid of some of these glue strings. Remember, you've got tulle on here, so you can't do it for very long. But just enough to get those glue strings melted. On both sides. And then I'm going to flip it over to make sure there's one showing on the front. And I think that's it. Okay, so we've got that done, and now all we have to do is assemble the box. So we bring these pieces in like this. Okay, and these pieces like this. Oh, I did that backwards because it should close on the ends. No, that is right. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze those a little bit to make sure that they go in where they need to be. And you could glue those down, I suppose. And then you just do these parts. There's a little glue on there. I'll get that off afterwards. So I can just show you, and we're going to slide this in here. And now you have a little box, and inside there is where you can put your gift. Okay? And then you just bring these up. And normally you would tie a bow around that, but because of the way it is, I'm just going to glue it shut, and she can, you know, just a dab, and she can just pull it apart. And that will be her gift box. And that's, straighten out the dress a little bit, and whoop, now I got it too far the other way. There we go. And there we have our gift box. There's the back, and there's the front with the little corset. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this quick project. Again, these are just, I got them at the Dollar Tree, and they come in packs of, let's see, they come in packs of 10, and they're favor boxes. This is what the tag looks like. Okay. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you try to make one for yourself, and you can store stuff in it, or like me, you can put a little gift in it and send it out. All right, thank you for watching.